One tastes like candy and disappears into your gym bag. The other looks boring, mixes into water, and quietly saves you enough money to buy something else that actually matters. If you're a man trying to stay strong, sharp, and consistent, this choice matters more than it looks. I did the creatine math so you don't waste money, so let's compare gummies versus powder. Creatine's having a real moment right now, but the reason it keeps surviving every trend cycle is simple. It works. Creatine monohydrate is still the most studied form. It helps support short-burst high-effort output, and the usual daily maintenance range is still about 3 to 5 grams once you're taking it consistently. So this isn't one of those supplements where the whole argument is whether it does anything at all. The real argument is whether you're buying it in the smartest form for your life. That's why gummies versus scoop is such a good test. Both can get creatine into your system. Both can work if you actually take enough every day. But they solve two different problems. Gummies solve the friction problem. Powder solves the value problem. One is built for convenience, portability, and taste. The other is built for accuracy, simplicity, and long-term cost control. And if you're in your 30s or 40s, that difference matters, because at this stage, you're not shopping for hype. You're shopping for something you'll still want to use 6 months from now. Let's start with the gummy side, because I get why men like them. When I checked Amazon, Legend Creatine Monohydrate Gummies were sitting at $29.71 on Subscribe and Save, and the listing shows 30 servings with 5 grams per serving. That is the entire pitch right there. Open the bag, chew the serving, move on with your day. No shaker, no scoop, no cloudy water in the passenger seat, no white powder sitting on your office desk looking like you are preparing for a chemistry exam. It's fast, clean, portable, and honestly easier to remember. That matters if your life is work, training, errands, family, and trying to hold the whole thing together without adding one more annoying task. And that's where gummies are genuinely useful. If you train before work, keep supplements in your backpack, or travel a lot, the gummy format fits adult life in a way powder sometimes doesn't. You can leave it in the car, keep it in your gym bag, throw it in a drawer at work, and take it without needing anything else. That makes it easier to stay consistent, and consistency is the whole point with creatine. It is not a supplement you feel like caffeine. It pays off because you keep taking it. So if you're the kind of guy who knows a tub of powder is going to sit untouched on the kitchen counter while you tell yourself you'll remember it tomorrow, gummies do solve a real problem. But now the part that matters. Convenience isn't the same thing as value. When I checked Amazon, Optimum Nutrition Micronized Creatine Monohydrate Powder was $23.79 for 120 servings, and the smaller 60-serving tub was showing $13.47. So the gummy example costs more money up front while giving you way fewer days of use. That is where this whole conversation flips. The scoop looks less exciting for about 5 seconds, and then the math lands. With the powder, you are paying less and getting months of daily use. With the gummies, you are paying more for the privilege of finishing the bag fast. That Legend gummy example works out to roughly 99 cents a day. The Optimum Nutrition Powder works out to about 20 cents a day. Over a year, the gummy route lands around $361. The powder lands around $72. So the boring white scoop doesn't just win, it quietly saves you almost $300 a year in this real-world example. That is not a tiny gap. That is groceries, extra protein, better coffee, or just money that stays in your account instead of getting chewed up in supplement form. And this is exactly why powder keeps winning with serious lifters and budget-conscious guys. It's not because powder is cooler. It's because it does not waste your money on packaging, flavor systems, gummy texture, and all the extra stuff that makes a supplement feel fun. Healthline makes the same basic point. Powder is usually the more cost-effective option because it gives you more creatine per serving and avoids the extra cost that comes with flavoring, gelatin, and packaging. So if your brain is wired to ask the question, what am I actually paying for here? The answer with powder is simple. You're paying for creatine. With gummies, you are paying for creatine plus the experience. There is also the purity concern. Optimum Nutrition's powder listing is basically the opposite of a candy-style supplement. It is unflavored creatine monohydrate with no artificial colors, sweeteners, or flavors on the product page. That means it slides into a routine cleanly. You can mix it into your post-workout shake, water, juice, or whatever you already drink in the morning. It doesn't need to become a whole separate ritual. For a health-conscious guy in his 30s or 40s, that's useful. The best supplements at this stage are the ones that disappear into habits you already have. Powder also gives you better control. If you want 3 grams, you can do that. If you want the full 5 grams, you can do that too. Gummies are fixed dose. You take what the serving tells you to take, and if you want more, you usually need to eat more pieces. Healthline points out that this can also mean taking in more sugar or calories depending on the product. That does not make gummies bad, but it does make them less flexible. If you are the kind of guy who actually likes dialing things in, powder fits that mindset better. It lets you be precise without paying extra to do it. Now let's be fair again, because powder isn't perfect. Sometimes it tastes like nothing in the most depressing way possible. Sometimes it settles at the bottom. Sometimes you forget your shaker, and suddenly the most researched supplement in sports nutrition is useless because it is still sitting in a tub back at home. That is the real weakness of the scoop. It isn't effectiveness, it's inconvenience. Gummies win that round easily. They are faster, cleaner, easier to carry, and easier to remember. So if you are buying for compliance above everything else, the gummy format absolutely has a case. But gummies have one extra problem that powder mostly doesn't, and this is where you need to pay attention. The gummy category has had real quality control questions. In 2024, Now reported that roughly half of the creatine gummy products it tested failed to meet label claims. Then, in 2025, Wired reported that some popular creatine gummies sold on Amazon contained almost no creatine or none at all when independently tested. That does not mean every gummy on the market is fake. It does mean the category deserves more skepticism than a plain creatine monohydrate powder from an established brand. If you go gummy, do not shop like a teenager in a candy aisle. Shop like a grown man spending real money. Look for transparent dosing, credible testing, and a brand with something to lose. That quality issue matters even more because the whole point of creatine is boring consistency. It isn't supposed to be dramatic. You don't take it once and suddenly become superhuman. It helps over time. A little more output, a little more work done, a little more support for strength and muscle when paired with training. So if the product is underdosed, inconsistent, or just flat out not delivering what the label says, you may not notice right away. You'll just think creatine is overrated, when really the problem was the form you bought. That's another quiet advantage of the scoop. It is less sexy, but it is also much easier to trust. Here is the bigger life optimization angle, because that's what this really comes down to for men in their 30s and 40s. At this point, you aren't supplementing to chase trends. You're trying to protect useful things. Strength, training quality, recovery rhythm, the ability to show up, work hard, and not feel like your body is slowly negotiating against you. Creatine helps because it supports the kind of hard efforts that keep muscle on your frame and performance in your week. So the smart move isn't to buy the one that looks coolest online. It is to buy the one that helps you stay consistent without creating stupid friction somewhere else, either in your routine or in your budget. So if you're busy, travel a lot, hate mixing powders, and know you will only stay consistent if the supplement is basically effortless, a good creatine gummy can make sense. In that case, you are paying for convenience, and at least you know why. But if you lift regularly, care about simplicity, want exact dosing, and do not enjoy setting cash on fire for no reason, the scoop is the adult choice. In the Amazon example I checked, the gummy was almost 5 times the daily cost of the powder. That is the whole story in one line. Gummies win on ease. Powder wins on almost everything else. And one last thing, because this is where grown men save themselves a lot of nonsense. Creatine is a support tool, not a rescue plan. If your sleep is bad, your training is random, and your diet is all over the place, gummies will not save that and powder will not save that either. The supplement only matters once the basics are there. But once they are there, the right form makes your life easier. For most men, that still means plain creatine monohydrate powder. It's cheaper, simpler, easier to dose, and backed by decades of research. Boring wins again. If this helps you stop wasting money in the supplement aisle, subscribe, because that is what we are doing here, cutting through the shiny stuff and keeping the useful stuff. In this video, I break down creatine gummies versus creatine powder for men who want strength, muscle, better training, and smarter supplement spending. We compare real Amazon prices, cost per serving, yearly cost, convenience, dosing, ingredient quality, and the biggest reason gummies can end up wasting your money. If you're in your 30s or 40s and want a simple, research-backed supplement that actually fits real life, this video will help you choose the right form of creatine without hype. Watch before you buy, especially if you care about performance, recovery, consistency, and not overspending on flashy supplements.